Yesterday, I see now why just we are going for this Jira tool. You already know, right? Because if you are going to work in agile methodology, then definitely the people are going to use this Jira software. Okay, you just got it right. So that is the reason. If you are going to use this Jira tool, means what is the main purpose of this Jira tool? You are like This Jira tool is used to track your complete project related informations. So this can be Jira tool can be used as a project management to track the project management process, and as well as this Jira tool can be used as a bug tracking tool. That means you can create number of user stories and you can just track all the information how the process is going on, and what sprint which sprint got started when, and how many user stories are assigned to this particular sprint, and how many user stories are see once how many user stories have been assigned to each and every user, and what is the status of each and every user story. See, actually here you are just going to have some set of status and all, it's going to be there initially. So it will be available with the to do status. See, there are a lot of status you can this status not right. So user story status, we are just going to call it as user story status. What is meant by user story status here? See, first initially when this user story was created at that time, so we are just going to have the story as created, and then in the later point of time that they are going to what are the things that needs to be in the to do status. One second, just a minute. Okay. Okay. I will call you back. Okay, thanks. So see here, it's a user story status. Status means what? See, first of all, they have created this user stories, and once that has been created, we want to the initially the status of this user story is going to be in the to do list. What are the user stories that needs to be to do? Those things it is going to be see already the user story status it's showing as to do here. You are able to see this screen. So to do will be the status. In addition to that, after that, see you want to assign this user story to any one of the user, because so for example, if I want to this is the user story, I want to work on this particular user story, means this is going to be assigned to me. For that, right, I'm just going to there is a status, another status, it's not available in that particular thing, but there is a status called assigned. Assigned status should be there. Assigned means is assigned, it is going to be like I told you, right, this user story is it's mine user story, that means assigned to me. Assigned to me will be the assigned is the status that is going to be available in this drop down. So this status and all, who is going to add means the scrum master is going to add the status and all, but usually assigned should be there. It is not there means no problem, scrum master will add that, you no need to worry about that. The next status is once this user story is assigned to me, I want to for example, take that see this test employee login. See, already the developer, one of the developer, he has assigned and he has completed his task. Now, as a test engineer, as a QA manager, I want to take this particular task and I want to test the login information. Already, this user story can3 is there, right? So that user story is already assigned to me. Can3 is assigned to me. Okay, this is the user story. The user story means this testing employee login info is there, right? That is the user story. It has been assigned to me. Now, it has been assigned to me, then automatically, right? See, so it is going to be like I just want to assign it to me. So I want to assign means like actually here the status needs to be added by the test manager. Maybe we'll see like assign. One second. There is an here. If you are just going to click on this particular thing, right, it is going to open some set of things and all in this left side. So here there is a status called like it is. I want to just initially assign to me, right? So where can I just go and assign? This is the user story. Like next one is the user story. Here there is an unassigned is there, right? In that particular place, I just want to go and assign it to me. So if that user story is assigned, right, one second, I'm just searching for that. Where right now I just seen that. See here. See here in this assigned, unassigned, this is not assigned to anyone. Initially, I am just going to assign for myself. See, now this test case, this user story is assigned to me, and I am the responsibility person to complete this particular task or user story. Okay. Now, after the assignment is done, I want to make it as in progress. That means if I have started my testing by using this user story, means I'm just going to change this status to in progress. So next, the status is going to be in progress. What is this in progress means here? In progress means, so I have just started working on this particular user story or task, and it is in progress. So I want to complete this task. So if you are just going to done with this, all the work which has been provided in this user story, testing of employee login information has been done by me. Then finally, I'm just going to change the status to done, or otherwise like it's I'm just going to change the status to done here. Okay, done, or there we will be having some set of things called resolved or something, or completed. See, this status and all, right, it is going to be provided by the scrum master. We want to just select that particular things here. Okay, so you can just select any one of this, either done or completed or resolved, like that. Okay, see, you are able to understand this. If any user story is there, means initially if from backlog, we are just going to move it to the corresponding sprint, and they have already like you will be having some knowledge like which user story is assigned to you. That user story you want to be either assigned by yourself, or otherwise your scrum master or otherwise project manager is going to assign this user story on your name. Once it has been assigned, then you are just going to change the status of that user story to in progress, because you are working on that particular thing. Once your work is done, you are just going to change the status to resolved, or otherwise if you have some other concerns related stuff, there will be like they are going to add some set of user stories. Maybe like you can differ, that means a requirement is not matching properly or something if it is related to that, means you are just going to select this kind of options here. So that options and all, when you are just going into the project, right, they are going to they are going to inform you what is the status that are available inside the project. Okay, so are you getting this point? See, usually these are all the user stories which will be available in the sprint. In that user story, each and every person which user story who want to take that and all, already they will be deciding in the before starting the sprint itself. We are just going to get clarity on that. See, for example, as a test engineer, so I should be like if it is a 2 weeks of sprint, 2 weeks of sprint. That means within 2 weeks, within 10 days, you are just going to have one release. 10 days release is there. Then if we are the QA engineers, we are just going to accommodate totally 10 days. We need to be accommodated properly. 10 days means like how many story points it should be accommodated. So for us, right, 10 days means it's going to be 10 into 6, 60 hours. User stories with user stories need to be assigned to each employee or otherwise, and each developer or each tester, test engineer or QA engineer or manager, whoever the thing. So 60 hours, 10 into 6. I told you, right? 10 into 6, totally 6 hours per day. So totally it's going to be 60 hours. So this 60 hours, they are just going to this, we should be engaged for 60 hours. That means how many user stories that is going to be. For example, this CAN3, this user story, it is going to take approximately CAN3 user story. It's going to take approximately some 20 hours. You think that 20 hours? Then remaining how many hours it is? It will be available for you in the 60 hours. 20 hours is done. Then remaining 30 hours will be there. For that, they will be assigning some set of another user stories to you. Maybe the CAN 5 is the user story, which may have another 25 hours or something. And CAN 7 user story, maybe it is going to have, see, already it has been 20 plus 25, 45 hours it is done. So remaining 15 hours only it is there. For example, CAN 7, you are having only 10 hours. Within 10 hours, you can just complete that means. So for that 5 hours, that can be manageable. Like that is going to be like you can just provide some justification, like based on like for other buffer related stuff, they are just going to leave this 5 hours of time. That is fine. Or otherwise, they can also assign some other, if required, you can also take yourself the other user story, like you are just going to have some other, like within 5 hours, any other user story is going to get completed means, then that user story will be assigned in this particular sprint, in one sprint, right? For myself. So for each and every person, we are just going to have, maybe in this scenario, we are just going to have 4 user stories which will be assigned to us. So like this, if for each and every sprint, we may have around a lot of 20 user stories also will be there. So in that 20 user stories, so 4 user stories will be assigned to the QA manager, QA team, like QA persons, and the QA manager is going to get maybe 2 or 3 user stories, or otherwise the developers are going to get around, each and every developer is going to get maybe 2 to 3 user stories, something like that. It is going to be done. Okay. So is it fine right now? You are able to understand this? This is the way they are going to allot some set of sprint related user stories, and these user stories, finally you want to just do an in progress, and finally you want to change the status to done. Done means that's it. This user story work has been completed. Once this work has been completed, see here, it has been like just striked out. You are getting, if I'm just going to change the status to done, automatically it is going to be striked out. That means in the sprint 1, this user story has been completed. So the remaining things only it is pending. So that's what you can just track. Who is going to track these particular things means the Scrum Master is going to track how many user stories are available in this sprint, how many user stories has been completed, how many user stories are still pending. All this information it's going to be tracked by the who is going to track this? Who is going to track all this information?
Master.
Scrum Master, correct. Scrum Master is going to track all this information. Okay. So your work is like, as a QA engineer, you want to take each and every task which is assigned to you, and you need to do the progress, and it will be like initially it will be in to-do list. Then you want to change it to in progress. Finally, once your work is done, you are just going to do the complete. See, once your work is done, you should properly submit your comments. So what exactly you have done each and every day, what is the task you are just doing in this particular user story, that type of information and all, you want to just update in the comment section. See that each and every user story, there will be some set of comment section it is available here. So in this comment section, every day, whatever the work you have completed, that needs to be updated by yourself in this particular comment section. So that comments and all, they are going to verify in this history. See here in the history, right? It is going to track each and everything. First, initially, we have created this user story. When this user story has created yesterday, at what time, everything it is going to be there. And then I have changed the parent yesterday. That is, it is going to be available here. Then I have updated the sprint from backlog to sprint. I have assigned. That is, I have just added that sprint none to can sprint one. So I have brought this user story from sprint one, and then I have just assigned this user story to myself before 10 minutes. So it is showing each and every status. Previously it was unassigned. Now it has been assigned to myself. Then like the other status is now I have changed the status from before 10 minutes ago. I have changed the status from to do to in progress. So this is going to maintain all the histories. When I have done, see from in progress to I have done, change it to done. So like this, it is going to have the complete history. That too, every day, whatever the work that you have done, you need to update in the comments. That comments also is going to be get displayed in the history section. So this is going to be viewed by everyone in your project. Okay, not only you or your Scrum Master is going to view. Everyone, read only access will be provided to everyone. Everyone is going to check these particular things. So this is the way you are just going to work on your user stories. Once all these things has been done, right, all the user story, here instead of start still I did not started this. So once if you have clicked on the start, right, so just you are just going to, they are going to click who is going to start this sprint and all means the corresponding like Scrum Master is going to do this particular task. Once all this user stories has been completed and moved to done, finally we are just going to have like here it's completed sprint button will be enabled. So once this all the user stories is done means Scrum Master is going to click on this complete sprint and they are going to close this sprint. If there is any pending work is available in some of the user stories, what the Scrum Master is going to do means he is going to take this user story and they are just going to move it to the next sprint called sprint 2. Okay, if there is any pending because of any technical issues or because of some other dependencies, you are not able to complete these things means that is, if it is a valid scenarios means they are going to move it to the next sprints. Okay, this is the way they are just going to do the the process in the Jira. So they are going to create the project and they're going to create some set of user stories. What are the user stories that needs to be done? And that user stories will be assigned to corresponding sprints. And while assigning to the corresponding sprints itself, it is also going to be like they are also going to come up with some set of information saying that these are all the user stories belongs to Rajesh. These are all the user stories that belongs to Payas. These are all the user stories that belongs to Sujata. These are all the user stories that belongs to Deviel, Sneha. So like that, they are just going to allot some set of user stories to you, and user stories are tasks. So you want to just one second. So see here, based on this, the user stories are tasks which are going to be allotted to our corresponding things before the sprint gets started. Once sprint gets started means we want to take this task or user stories and assign to us, and we want to do the we want to start our work and we want to complete within the given date. Here already they have given date, right? So within this particular date we want to complete that. To each and every user story we may also have the user story points will be there, right? So that story points and all, you one second, the story points. See here, if you want to define any story points, where it is going to be. So there will be some set of story points and all. It's going to be assigned already. This is predefined. So that story points and all, based on that story points, how many days they have given, like 20 hours or 10 hours or 15 hours or something is there. Means within that 15 hours, you want to complete this task and you want to pick the other task or user stories. Okay, so that needs to be happen in an like very much processed way. It is going to be like handled. You are getting this point.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So this is the way they are going to track. See, once already you are testing this particular user story, maybe you as a test engineer. So this is the user story which is assigned to you. You are testing this particular user story. You are testing this particular user story, CAN3. Already this has been completed by the developer. But if you find any issues regarding this, so how you are just going to raise an issues for this particular things means, see, you are just going to click on this particular create button and it is going to come up with some set of, say, project name you have selected, Canada project, task in the issue type, right? You are just going to say that this is a bug. So it is a bug, not the user story or a task. You have tested the application and you have find the bug in the login. For example, like login button. So getting error, crash, getting error page on login button click. Okay, this is your user stories. So what is the summary? How you are just going to display means you want to specify what is the scenario is. So you want to specify the scenario here. So what is the scenario? So scenario is going to be, you are just going to specify. So initially you enter correct username into username field. Okay, and then enter correct password into password field. And then click on login button. By just clicking on this login button, like you are just getting this error. On login button click. Click getting the error page called 500 error or something. So this is your issue here. So once click. So this is the error. So you have specified the error. You are saying that getting error 500 page on login button click. This is your summary. This is your summary, and the total description is you are just going to specify in which scenario you are getting this 500 page error. Getting error 500. So that you want to specify it here. Once this has been given, you just either if you are familiar with whom to assign, you can assign, or otherwise the project manager is going to take care of the thing. Okay, you no need to assign to anyone. If you want to assign yourself, you can click on this user story. You want to fix. You are the responsibility person, is you can assign by yourself. But here you will not be the responsible person. Here you are the QA person. You just identify this bug. Okay. Then if there is any label related to this, login details related, you can just have it. And sprint, right? In which sprint you want to just complete this particular thing, that you are just going to specify. In the your expectation is it should be completed in the CAN sprint 1, right? So see, when you are just going to add this, right, you will be getting some error message here. Creating this issue will affect the active sprint scope. that already they have defined some set of scope. So this many hours that has been already blocked to the users. If you are just going to add some issue, means again you want to provide the story point. How many story points it is going to take? Either one story points or two story points, like that. So that is going to affect the scope of the project, right? The release, right? So that it is going to get indicate here. Next one, if there is any issue linked, you want to link it to any other issues or something, right? You want to just identify that particular things here. Or otherwise, if it is going to be the subtask of anything, means, see, for example, this is the I'm testing login developed employee login page. This is the user story. I'm just testing here. While testing this particular user stories, I got this issue. So that is the reason I'm just going to create as a sub task under this particular user story. So that is the reason I just selected can do or something. And you want to just click on this create link. So this is going to get created. So if you see here, that created user story is going to, where the created user story is going to get available. See here. So see, that bug has been added to the sprint 1 and it is displaying under this particular sprint here. Is it correct or wrong? It's correct, right? So this bug has been added because I have created this bug. If you just go and see, if you just click on this particular bug, and just if you are going to see that, if you are just going to open it in a new page, this is the user story. See, under this particular user story, this is linked. This can 7 is the red getting error 500 bug that has been added as a subtask to this particular main task. Now the developer who has developed this particular things, they want to just assign for themselves and they want to fix this particular bug. You are getting this point? Are you getting right? So this is the way the process is going to, like, you, if you want to, as a QA engineer, you want to, if you are finding any bugs or issues, you want to raise by just clicking on this particular create, and that should be attached to the proper user stories. And also you want to specify in which sprint you are just going to like you want to fix this. Fix needs to be either this need to be fixed in the sprint 1 itself, or that needs to be fixed in the sprint 2. So these things and all, if they want to fix it in sprint 2, means you are just going to move on to the sprint 2 here. So that depends on the priority of the issues. If there is any other priorities going here, this issue will be taken in the next sprint. Correct? So this is the way the process of Jira is going. Using this Jira tool, right? Management is going to track how the things are going. That means like Scrum Masters and product owners and all. And as a development, test engineer, you are just going to raise any bugs. If there is any bugs that are available internally, that you are just going to track by yourself. And the developers and the testers are going to assign the user stories for themselves, and they are going to track. So in this Jira tool, right, we are having some set of dashboards also is there. So if you want to check what are the stories that has been assigned to you, right, you can also just go and view all the dashboard related stuff, and you can check like what are the stories that has been assigned to you, what are the projects that you have created, all these kind of informations and all, you are just going to do that. Okay, you can just take the reports also. So how many stories that has been assigned to you, how many stories that has been such kind of information and all, it is going to be available here. That is our like we did not created any dashboard for that. We want to create the dashboard. So in the meantime, if you want to search for see here, if you are just going to search for any issues which are related to myself, right, assigned to me, So see here, all these things are recently viewed related stuff. Here, how many issues are there means you just go and click on this particular things. It is going to show you how many issues are available here. See, totally this many issues are available here. Like so, this is one of the issue, and the other things are user stories and the tasks and epics that is going to be get displayed. You can just filter it and you can just see the corresponding things. Okay, so what are the see here? There are a lot of things are there. My open issues. What are the open issues? It's assigned to me means that are the it is going to get displayed. These are all the open issues. And what which are the tasks that has been reported by me means these are all the tasks that has been reported by me. If I want to get only open issues means I'm just going to get only open issues related stuff. See, these are all the things are open issues. What are the done issues? What are the completed issues means only this 1, 3, 4, 5, 6 are the completed issues. So like this, what are the resolved things that recently means only one has been resolved because we have made it to done, right? Done is also nothing but resolved. So such kind of reports and all, they are just going to track. If you want, right, you can also share it to your management team by clicking on this share, or you can export this data to an Excel. So a lot of things can be done here. Okay. So using this Jira tool. Now you just got it right. Why we want to go for a Jira tool? So because if you are following Agile methodology, you are just going to use the Jira tool. So it's clear, right?
Yes.
Okay, fine. See, then there is a like I just want to explain you like see that, so that's what all the models has been completed. Okay, here afterwards we are just going to enter. We are just going to see already you have seen about the SDLC process. You know about the complete SDLC process. SDLC is nothing but software development lifecycle. So requirement collection, feasibility study, design, coding, testing, installation, maintenance. So about this, we have already seen in all the models related stuff, right? Now, if you want to compare what is SDLC and what is STLC, SDLC means software development lifecycle. STLC means what? Software testing lifecycle. See, you as a QA engineer, you are just going to work on this particular cycle. So initially, when the system is going like you are just going to get the requirements from the customer or otherwise from the management team. You are just going to do the requirement study here. Once this requirement study is done, you are just going for to do a planning test. You are just going to plan how your testing is going to get it's going to get executed. What are the strategies you want to use? What are the software, either you want to use automation testing or manual testing, those kind of things and all, you are just going to decide at this test planning level itself. Who is going to involve in this test plan means either the test managers or test leads. Most probably they are going to involve in this test plan. Sometimes based on the requirements, even test engineers or QA engineers are also going to involve in this particular test plan preparations. You got it, right? Next, we are just going to prepare based on the requirements which is provided. Based on the requirements, we are just going to prepare the test cases. We are just going to prepare the test cases. That means test case means you know right what is test case here. Anyone knows what is meant by test case? I just want
It is a step-by-step process to develop for testing.
Pardon? Can you please-
Step-by-step process of testing.
Correct. Okay. See, this test cases is nothing but we'll be getting the requirements from the customers, right? So based on the requirements, if you want to test the functionalities of the system, how the system is going to behave, how the system should behave on which kind of scenarios. For example, there will be a lot of scenarios will be there, positive scenarios, negative scenarios, and all kind of scenarios will be there. You are just going to cover all the scenarios. So, and you are going to write, prepare this particular test cases. How we are just going to prepare this test case means you are just going to use the Excel file to prepare this particular test cases. So I'm just going to show you one small example here. So I'm just going to take one small see, there is an Orange HRMS test case. This is one kind of application. So in this application, the test case is going to look like this. So you are just going to have the section numbers, test case ID, requirement ID, scenario, module name, test case description, test data, pre condition, post condition, and the test data, expected result, and actual results. So this is one kind of test case presentations. Okay, and I am having another kind of test cases also. I'm just show you. This is another kind of test case. See, test case are going to be like this. Test case, this is for login screen test case. So what is the project related information? It's going to be like this: project name, project ID, version, platform, and all those things. What is the test window, like a login screen, functionalities? And so it's going to be like this. And then you are just going to have some set of preconditions, post conditions, and the test descriptions, and all. It's going to be like this. Then you are just going to have some set of things like instructions, test data, expected result, pass or fail, actual result. So here instruction means you just click on this particular link, hit the URL. That is the instruction. You are just going to which URL you want to click, that you are just going to specify in the test data. And what is your expectation? System should launch the authentication required pop-up page, and which is going to have some set of information like username, password, login button. So like this you are just going to have. And then either this test case, while after testing this, initially you are not going to fill this two columns. When you are executing this particular scenario, you are just going to fill either this scenario got passed or failed. So this is the expected result. You are just going to write only these particular columns. This is the actual result after executing this, right? You are just going to say that launched login pop-up with the below given fields, that is username, password, login, and button. So this kind of things and all, it's going to be there. Okay. Next one is going to be enter the username and passwords. So like this, you are just going to write some set. Here, after entering this URL, right? So we want to make sure, like we want to enter the corresponding username and password, and you are going to check the system. So system should accept the username in the username field, and the system should accept password in the password field. So after this is the expected result, and in the actual result, right? You are just going to say that entered value got accepted and displayed in the username text box. And here, after that, once username password has been provided, you just click on the login button with the valid information. That means correct username and password. Once the valid information has been provided, after authentication, system should navigate to the corresponding user type, the corresponding which user type homepage that needs to be login. For that particular login page, it's going to. And in the similar way, request are see, once this has been this is the expected result, and the actual result, the requester username and password got matched and launched the requester homepage. That's what it's going to be. In the similar way, you are just going to give wrong information. See here, click login button with username and password as blank, and you are just going to test how the system is going to behave. and click on login with correct username and password as blank and check how the system is behaving. Like this, you are just going to check for a lot of scenarios. So click on login button with correct username and wrong password or something. So incorrect username and password, incorrect password. So like this, you are just going to give some set of negative scenarios and positive scenarios and check what is happening, what the system is how the system is behaving when we are just giving the negative scenarios with the wrong username and password and all, how the system is behaving. Those things and all, right, you want to cover. This is one kind of test cases you are just going to prepare. Okay. And in the similar way, when it goes to Orange HRMS, right? So here section name will be there, test case ID will be there. See, each and every project test case format is going to be very much different. It's not going to be very much similar. So that may vary based on the project to project and company to company, depends on the managers also. How the format is going to be means that is going to be decided by that corresponding teams. Okay, so just getting a team managers or a team leads or like already they are following some set of standards means we are just going to follow the same standards over there. You are getting this point, right?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So these are all the test cases. So why I just came here means, so how to prepare the test cases? See, you want to prepare all the scenarios in this test cases, and that test cases.
So what is the difference between a right test plan and right test cases?
See, test plan is nothing but the complete how you are just going to test. So what are the strategies you are just going to use? So you want to see what are the tools you are just going to use. What are the types of testings you are going to do? So that kind of related things and all, it's going to be available in the test plan.
So it's just an assumption, right? No need to write anything.
No. We want to write a test plan. 1 second, I'll just show you how the test plan is going to be looks like.
Okay.
See, this is one kind of sample test plan I'm just showing you. See, this test plan also, it is going to get vary based on the company to company and project to project. See, this is one kind of test plan. So here test plan will be there and your project name you are just going to mention with the version here. So right now it's going to be the live project. It's going to be project name with the release and when the test plan is started, who has prepared this test plan and what is the version they're maintaining and when they have created, all these things is going to be there. And here it is going to, you are just going to have, you want to prepare this test plan and you want to get the sign off. So if like this plan is okay, we are just going to do our testing with this particular commented things. So such kind of things like here, like who is going to, like who has initially started this test plan, who has modified this test plan, when they have modified, what is the reason for modifying this description. They want to mention all these things. And after these people has prepared the test plan and some other people want to verify this test plan and confirm that, yes, this test plan is okay, like that. So you are just going to, then what is the release and the versions you are just going to follow. And this is the, what is the purpose of this test plan and the project, what is the project overview, who is going to be the audience for this particular thing. See, this is the purpose. This test plan describes the testing approach and overall frameworks that will be derived the testings of the project name or release, the corresponding release and the version you are just going to. This is the purpose. What is the purpose of this test plan is you are just going to describe about how the testing is going to get performed for this particular project. So related to that, it is going to give a detailed information. Overall frameworks, what are the frameworks it's going to use? How we are just going to drive the testings. So initially, what is the testing? Who is going to do the testing? So what are the testings that who is going to do? what the developer is going to do, what the testers are going to do, and when we are just going to complete the task. See, at least there should be some assumptions should be there for each and everything. So maybe in the like most probably 90% of the things we are just going to give the correct things. Maybe 10% or 20% it may get vary based on the things that is going inside the project. And now we want to explain what is our project is. Like a project, we want to specify that the project name, it's a release is, and it's a new version of application or something. And you are just going to specify some kind of things. The release is developed based on the some stakeholders' feedbacks. The release covered both the existing functionalities and new functions. See, these things and all, it is going to be purely based on your project. What is the project that you are just going to take? Related to that project, you want to provide the information. And who
This
and all,
overview we will take from the Java developer, right?
pardon?
I mean, we will get this test plan from Java developer, right?
No. This
No.
test plan should be prepared by the test manager or test leads.
Oh, okay.
So they are going to give the plan for us. See how the testing is going to get continued. How the when what are the test strategies we want to use? What are the testing type we want to use? So those things and all, it's going to be mentioned in this test plan. So how the testing, like a complete testing process, it's going to be. So initially you want to study the requirements. It is going to be the document for us how we want to do our testings. Who is going to do what type of testings? What kind of testings? So see, you want to do exploratory testings in this project. All defects would be recorded on the defect tracking tool that is called here. What is the tracking tool they want to use? They are going to mention which defect tracking tool we want to use. They are going to mention in this test plan. Here in this format, we have used Excel. That is the reason, like we have mentioned it as an Excel here. And the test plan will be provided with access to test environments. We'll be having some set of environments with the VPN related connections. Okay. So these kind of things, how we want to access the system, what are the types of testings we want to do, and to whom we want to interact if there is any problems occur. What are the test case activities we are just going to perform? Who is going to perform this? So test environment, who is going to prepare what? Like test environment and preparation activities will be owned by the development team. They are going to prepare test environment, that is server. They are going to give some server and they are going to deploy the information into the server. Those server is going to be taken care by the dev team. QA team means once dev team will provide the defect fix plan or something, means we are just going to do the testings and all. And also business analyst will review and sign off the test cases. And see what are the test cases that we are just going to write, who is going to review our test cases. That also they are going to mention in the test plan. Okay, so to whom we need to get the sign off. All these things will be available in this test plan. Before we start our testing, right, we will be getting this test plan from our QA managers. So we want to read and understand what is the process we want to follow for doing this testings and all. So test plan is nothing but what are the types of testings you want to do? Functional testing, UAT testings, and what are the principles you want to follow while doing the testings, and what are the data approaches where you are just going to get the data, where the data will be available for your testing purpose, and what are the scope and levels, like it's going to be like those things and all. It's going to be mentioned each and everything. See, your test cases and all, they are just going to attach to this particular test plan. After you prepare, right, they are going to attach to this particular test plan. So like this, you are just going to have some set of things and all. See, these are all the things like, so test deliverables. Test deliverables are, it's going to be test plan, functional test cases, defects, daily or weekly status report, test closures. All these things should be delivered properly. So that's what they are going to, what are the delivery reports we want to provide, means these are all the things that needs to be make sure and ready. Then milestone list. So here, these are all the test case, like milestone and all, it's going to be what are the things that we need to achieve when we are doing some kind of testing. So see, we will be having some set of draft, it is available here. So these are all the milestones. So in the, like, we'll be having cycle 1, cycle 2, cycle 3 related stuff. In this first, right, you are just going to navigate, and employee module is going to be tested in the first cycle when they are want to start this testing, when they want to end. Development team, when they are going to start, when they are going to end. So testing team, when they are going to start, when they are going to end. So retesting, when we want to start and when we want to end. Totally how many working days that are available. So we are just, and recycle is going to get started. Development team will take 1 day, and testing team will take another 1 day. So this kind of or approximate like dates and everything is going to be given in this test plan, which are all going to be very much tentative. See, that's what they have mentioned. The milestone list is a tentative and may change due to below reasons. That means, what are the reasons? Any issue in the system environment readiness, or any changes in the scope or addition in the scope, any other dependencies that impact efforts and timelines. So these kind of things and all, it's going to be there. So based on this, it's going to get varied. See, they are going to give the what and all the things that we want to follow. So execution strategy. If while executing our test cases, what are the things that we need to, what are the steps that we need to follow? So these things, see, I'm just going through this test plan. You no need to worry. I'll just explain you about this test plan in the coming sessions. Okay. So you no need to worry about this. But these are all the test plan. In the test plan, right? You are just going to have all these kind of informations will be there. That is the preparation of test plan. And preparation, see, test plan will be prepared by QA managers or QA leads. Test cases are going to be prepared by all the QA engineers, like test engineers or QA engineers. You are getting it?
Yes.
So then once you have created the test cases means, so you are just going to check, identify all possible test scenarios. You want to check you have covered all the scenarios or not. So did you have missed anything that you want to verify you by yourself? And then it is going for the review to with some other persons, maybe like business analyst is going to review your test cases, or otherwise project manager will review, or QA manager or leads are going to get reviewed, or in your team itself, some other persons may review your test cases. See, why they want to review means they want to check, did you have covered all the scenarios or not? Is there any mistakes, like a requirement is not matching or not? Some kind of things and all, it's going to be reviewed by yourself. And once if they find any issues or differences, right, you want to fix that reviewed comment. You want to re-modify that review comments by test cases should be modified based, and then you want to get the approval from the concerned manager or concerned like leads or someone. Once this has been approved, then finally the approval has been done means you want to store that test cases in a proper repositories. There will be some set of proper repositories for that project will be there. You want to store it in that particular repositories. Then once test cases has been prepared, you are just going to check that all the test case executions, like you want to execute all the test cases. Before that, you want to prepare the like how you are just going to execute your test cases. That metrics and all you are just going to find out, and you want to execute all these test cases. Execution means here I have just prepared this scenarios and all. What needs to be done? So now, after like I just wrote this, but I want to really test by just launching the application. I want to launch the application and I want to physically test, do the manual testing, and then I want to record that particular status. In this particular status should be recorded, like as this bug has been fixed, or like these things has been done or not. Those things and all it should be recorded. So that test case execution should be done here. Once the test case execution is done, so you may find some set of defects or errors or something that you are just going to raise in the defect tracking tool. So the developer needs to take this bugs and they want to fix and they want to send it back to you. You want to re-verify that, and then you want to send, confirm, saying that the system is working fine. Once the system is working fine, then you are just going to complete the things, and you want to finally you will be having some set of retrospective meetings where you are just going to come up with some set of things which went well, which did not went well. All these things are going to be up, noted by the QA managers or someone. Okay, so this is the overall testing process, the software testing life cycle process, which we are just going to follow. You are able to understand?
Yes.
Yes, it's clear, right? See, software development life cycle means this is the one. In the software development life cycle itself, we are just going to do the software testing. See, in the software development life cycle, you think that we as a test engineers are responsible at only at this particular point of time. It's not like that. You are going to be start your work from the requirement gathering onwards. When the requirements is provided means you are just going to study the requirements. When they are doing the feasibility study, at the time you are also going to check all the requirements can be done by can be done, or any issues are there or anything. And once this feasibility study is completed means from our end we are just going to prepare our test plan. What are the strategies, how we are just going to test, what are the types of testings we are going to do, how many people are going to involve here, either we are going to do manual testing or automation testing. All kind of things it is going to be written in this test plan itself. Then they will go for the test design phase. In the test design phase, they are going to design the system. In the meanwhile, we are just going to write the test cases. We are going to write the test cases. Here, the real coding is going to be developed. That is, software is going to be developed by the developers. Here, we are just going to do the traceability metrics, and once this coding has been released means we are just going to execute that software. The test cases are going to get executed for the provided code software. So once this test case execution is done, then we are just going to raise some defects. If there is any defects means defects also, the developers needs to fix that defects. Once this is done, we are just going to generate the reports here. So here they are going to release the installation means they are going to release it to the customers. See, parallelly we are also going to work from the start date, from the requirement gathering onwards. We are going to do our process like this. Don't think that our testing is going to get started only after coding. So we have a lot of other things also. We want to prepare, like documentations is there. We want to do some analysis. We want to gather more information, and then we want to do our steps. Now you just got it right. How can you link yourself with the SDLC process? How SDLC process with the SDLC process? Is it clear till now? What are the things? Do you have any questions here?
All good.
Okay, fine. So if you have any questions, please let me know. So we have done with SDLC process, and as well as what are the models that are available and how the tools, Jira tools and all using, that is done. Now, really, we are just going to see the process, manual testing process. So how the process is going to, what are the types of testings we are just going to do, all these things we are just going to, once we have done with that, right? So then we'll be move on to the next things. Okay. So till now you are just getting the things right. We are just going, hope we are going in a right track. Let me know if you have any other questions or anything.